Well, this morning I'm going to talk to you about and offer to you the two great secrets of poetry. And once I was asked to do a presentation to a group of what I assumed were middle school children and their grandparents. And I got to the school, and all of a sudden I saw they weren't middle school children, but mostly kindergartners and first graders. And so all of a sudden the things I had brought with me were irrelevant. I knew they would not like the poems I had chosen for the occasion, so I was off on a shoe shine and a smile. And so what I did first was look down below and saw all these wonderful, energetic, restless young children and asked if they knew any jump rope rhymes. And so, yes, indeed, one bright young girl got up and said, "Yes, ice cream soda, Delaware punch, tell me the name of the honey bunch." And that sort of energized all of them. And other jump rope rhymes came up. And then I suggested, what about nursery rhymes? And the kids knew a lot of nursery rhymes and were delighted to be able to stand up and recite them in front of their grandparents. Like, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. So the first great secret of poetry is the fun that language has with itself in terms of sound, in terms of rhythm, in terms really of the joy that words have when they are next to each other having fun. And the kids could see that. You could see it in their bodies and in the excitement that they had at being able to perform and move to the rhythm of the words. And then I thought we started talking about athletic events and all of that, and I found myself trying to show them the next big secret of poetry, the first being rhythm and the joy of language, and the second is this, and this is the greatest tool that a poet has, and that is the understanding that this is like that this is like that. And so trying desperately to figure out a way how to connect with these kids, what I did was hold up my hand like this. Now once I took a sketch class and the teacher said, someone asked, "What, I have to do a sketch a day? What can I sketch?" And the teacher said, "Well, your hand is always there and your hand has infinite shapes and forms, and so you can always sketch your hand, and I think you can always look at your hand and see what it's like." I held up my hand like this, and I asked, what sport does this hand remind you of? What sport does it remind you of? What team would look like this hand? And they hemmed and hawed around for a while, and then I asked, "Well, how many fingers are on there?" And they said five fingers. And they said, "Well, what athletic team has 5 players on it?" And they thought, "For a basketball team, yay, it's a basketball team." And I said, "Yeah, so my hand, the fingers on my hand are like a basketball team." And so then we went on, and I looked at my hand some more and said, "Which fingers are which positions on the basketball team?" And so they thought about a while, and one young guy said, "Hey, the middle finger must be the center because he's the tall guy." "Right," I said, right. That's very good. That's very good. What about the other 2 positions? And they thought about for a while. And they said, "Well, I think probably your thumb and your little finger are the guards because they're the short ones who run around and moving the ball." So, and I said, "Yeah, that's very good. So what would be the other 2? Well, they would be the forwards." And so they were very excited. They could see how my fingers on my hand made up a basketball team. And so, but the next thing I said which is the best player on the basketball team? Which is the most agile, the most cunning, the most dexterous? I didn't use that word there, but so which was the most agile? And they looked around and they all chose the index finger because it's the one that moves the easiest, that has the most agility, the most flexibility. And so that was my lesson of This Is Like That. That was the two great lessons of poetry, the love that language has of play, and the great weapon that this is like that. This is like that. It's the deepest weapon that every poet has as he's trying to work towards what my favorite definition of poetry is, and that's felt thought. And so you see felt thought by taking what you feel, the excitement you feel about a basketball team, and turning it into your fingers, the excitement you feel about your fingers and turning it into a basketball team.